I think for me what was interesting was I visited Liberia when we had our African launch meeting, and I thought it was really, really interesting to see how the palm oil plantations was so huge, and there was a village in the middle of it, and basically they owned all of the land around it, but it was taken away from them, and land grabbing is huge in Africa. The Friends of the Earth Liberia had managed to keep them protected there and worked with them and got them basically a legal document that says they cannot be relocated or removed. And I think we saw this kind of solidarity action with Young Friends of the Netherlands and Friends of the Netherlands, where they were doing actions, and we did an action outside the bank that's investing in palm oil production, specifically in Liberia. So I think it was really interesting to see how we have where the activity and the extraction and how the really, really negative impacts, we see it in Africa as well as in Europe, but mainly that these companies are based in Europe, and we can try and work together in that way.
Shell, of course, is one of the most polluting companies in the world. They actually have a lot of things to do with oil spills in Africa, mostly in Nigeria. What we can do in the Netherlands is actually fighting them right here where they're headquartered in The Hague. The other is palm oil plantations. There are actually a lot of banks in the Netherlands, 3 banks, that still invest a lot of money in dirty palm oil plantations.
I think in this project it was really cool to see that 2 regions working together, fighting for a common cause, and looking at collaborative ways in which we can tackle very, very difficult issues.
So throughout the Erasmus exchange project between Young for Europe and Young for Africa, we've come across the issue of getting visas for our colleagues and friends to be able to participate and come from Africa to European meetings and exchanges. It was not only traumatizing for people, but also they could not participate in the meetings, in the exchanges, and actually the whole point of this project, the building of intersectional and inclusive movement. So if we are to do that, we need freedom of movement for all people, and we need inclusion of people.
A big issue that we need to tackle, you find, is a big issue that is still becoming a challenge, that is still discriminating us. Male dominance, where you find men take decisions on almost everything. You find that male are leading youth decisions are not considered. Women are do not take part in decision making, and that's why we need to come up with this movement that is intersectional. We need everyone to be included: the youth, men, women, irrespective of age, irrespective of gender.
You have to take time out to truly listen to what the other person has to say. Because you can't do solidarity work without understanding what is important to the next person and what the next person actually thinks about the situation or the things of common interest between the 2 groups. Yeah, we've seen many cases of solidarity across regions, within regions, across countries, across continents, many of which had very good intentions, good-hearted plights, or trying to solve problems amongst people, but we've seen many of them also go wrong. And I give a typical example. In Africa, in West Africa, in Nigeria, where I come from, we've struggled a lot with malaria and mosquitoes. So I'll give you a typical scenario. The mosquito nets and being sent around from eight groups around the US, from Europe to Nigeria, actually doesn't solve the problem, because they've not taken time to actually listen to the people and see what the real solutions are. And the solutions are quite easy, actually. Just teaching the people how to make sure their environment is clean, the grasses are cut, the drains around their homes are cleaned, dirt are taken away. By just doing this simple act of teaching and sharing, mosquitoes could be eliminated. So we need to take time out actually to listen to what the people are saying and what they think and the solutions they have to solve these problems, and then tackle it and have good solidarity and have good results.